Hello and welcome. So I've just been testing Proteus version 1.1 and I've come across some very strange behaviour. Just want to start by saying that anything that I mention is not a dig at GuitarML. And I mean no discouragement, it's simply in the interest of improving the plugin or the experience for the end user. Me, basically. Because I want to use it and I want it to be epic. And I'm having a little bit of trouble. So the main problem is predictable in this model, which is a model of the orange terra stamp that I've been trying to create. And it happens roughly where the drive control is now. It doesn't seem to happen with any of the models that come with the plugin, so it could be a problem just entirely with my model. But if that's the case, what's causing it? Just a warning though, this is going to contain some very strange sounds. I've got a weird synth sound to begin with, and then this high-pitched whining is just really bad on the ears. Oh, and this is running at 44.1 kHz, but it happens at 48 kHz as well. Anyway, here we go. Now what's peculiar about this is that if I keep hitting a key, it can stop. Like that. And also, as I'm moving this control, it's sweeping. And there you can see the aliasing now there, sweeping in opposite directions, and the others as well, like that. Weird chirping sounds. It seems like it's something to do with the interpolation between the 50% and 75% snapshots, something like that. You can hear the nasaliness coming through within that range. And the original sound. So it's weird anyway. Turn it back on. It's possible as well to get it in such a position where it will always ring out and never stop, no matter how many times I press a key. If I switch models like this, it can go away. This is just another version, a refined version, supposedly. Although I'm not entirely convinced that it actually is refined. Yeah, particularly there, that's terrible there. I picked this sound because I wanted to see how the sweepiness would be affected by the aliasing and things. I don't have a filter or anything on, because I just want to hear what's going on with it. Ooh. Some nasty resonance there. So then moving on to the third one. Just fares the same really, although the nasaliness seems to be in a slightly different position. And there we go again. This one I added some noise reduction to it, and I normalised it, -1 decibel true peak. This one, and it's different, look. The pattern of the harmonic series is different to the other, but now it's gone, look. So it can hold that in for between a certain range on this control, but if I move it too far it disappears and I have to press a key and it comes back, look. But yeah, I normalised these ones just to sort of bring everything up a bit, because the lower gain settings are a bit quiet. But to be honest, I think it gets normalised anyway. So to me, this makes me think it could be something to do with how this model's trained. And maybe that's all it is, but I did have this kind of whining before, as I mentioned in my other video. I just can't recreate it now for some reason. It was lower pitch though, more obvious whining. One thing for certain is, each one's different. And it obviously shouldn't be happening. Look at that. And that's really chirpy, that one. Some really terrible aliased sweep in there. But I mean, it's going to alias at 44.1. Choose what? And the higher the gain, the nastier it's going to be. I mean, sometimes aliasing ain't too much of a problem, but, you know, when you start bending strings and stuff high up, it's going to come out. But again, it's always the same location, roughly, on the control. But yeah, that's enough of that. Now, I've spoken to Mr. GuitarML. He replied to my previous video, and he also replied to some of the comments I left him on his videos. He was quick to respond and friendly and everything, so 100% full marks for that. And then he even gets bonus points because obviously it's all free. Beggars can't be choosers. Anyway, what he replied about specifically relates to what I'm going to talk about now, because obviously this video hasn't been seen yet, so he doesn't know about the issues I've been having with the model yet. And obviously I want to improve the model so I can share it, and I want it to sound the best that I can make it sound. And if I can do that, I will experiment with different EQ settings on the TerraStamp as well, and capture those settings, how they play into the drive and everything. But it's all a question of time. It takes like 40 minutes to train the model, plus capturing time, so I need to find out what's causing the issues before I go to too much trouble. So all the issues that I'm having, it might be something wrong with the model, like I might have cocked up, or maybe the error to signal ratio on these results is just not good enough. But it also might be some kind of bug related to the downsampling to 44.1 kHz. Speaking of which, what is the aliasing like during normal operation? Well, it's not going to be good. Here we just have a pure sine sweep from 0 Hz up to and beyond 22 kHz, and you can see that when it reaches 22 kHz, it reflects back down. Now, that's probably going to be fine, because human hearing and everything, 20 kHz is about the max, so you're not going to hear that. No danger. And it's not always to say that all aliasing is bad. Depending on the situation, it can actually work quite nicely, in a dirty kind of way. But this, you're going to hear this. For example, here is our original sine sweep, and it bounces back down. Curiously, it fades out there as if it's been filtered through some process. But that wasn't the main offender. What is the distortion that we've added, which has created this harmonic series. And if you look at this one, it is rising up, bouncing down again well within the range of our hearing, as it has nowhere else to go. Because at this sample rate, we can only represent up to 22 kHz, more or less. But what is really important about this is that it's travelling down in pitch while our fundamental frequency is travelling up in pitch. And this is your chirping sounds. Now if it were just a few, it wouldn't be too bad. But like, look at this one. This one's doing 2 bounces. It's bouncing at the bottom here and going back up. You can just see the end of the fundamental at the top end there. But if you take any of these higher harmonics here, look at how many bounces that they're doing within that 22 kHz range. So just taking this one, for instance. It's like 5, 6, 7. And then it just gets a bit unreadable up there with the complete mash of all them frequencies. And of course blue is quieter than yellow, but there's so many that at high gain it's not going to sound particularly pleasant for sure. That is, if you're not expecting to hear any aliasing at all. Now with the addition of even just a way to run at higher sample rates, then you could just use the oversampling that's built into Reaper for now, as a stopgap solution. But of course if it's been downsampled internally to 44.1 kHz, then this isn't going to make a blind bit of difference. Because you'd be upsampling the signal before it goes into the plugin, then the plugin would be downsampling it. Then the plugin would, I suppose, be upsampling again to the oversampled rate, and then Reaper would be downsampling again to the actual sample rate that it's running at. It's just crazy to think about. But the important thing is at the point of the distortion being added, it'd still be at 44.1 kHz, so no gain. But then it was also explained to me that the reason why it's downsampled to 44.1 kHz is because the machine learning algorithm uses that sample rate to make the models, to do the training. But that'd be fine for capturing analog distortions, because what you'd be capturing is at that point linear regarding the audio signal in the digital world. The problem only really begins when we apply the distortion in Proteus. Anyway, for trying to create a high gain tube model, I think that we really do need the oversampling in there, because analog gear doesn't behave like this. But it does somewhat capture the essence of how the orange TerraStamp behaves. Overall, it's just, the problems described earlier and stuff. Plus this aliasing grime, which at the moment is just completely unavoidable. But Proteus is free, and you've not lost anything by using it if you download it and give it a try. Also, he told me that it should be able to support higher sample rates at some point in the near future, once he's fixed a few things. So, there is that. And he said he will look into the oversampling, but that he needs to do more research first, which is fair enough, because that's how we learn, isn't it? So yeah, there we go. I wanted to do a video comparing the orange TerraStamp model to the actual orange TerraStamp, but unless I get rid of all the nasty frequencies and everything, I can't really do that, which is a bit of a shame. In the meantime, I'm going to carry on playing around with different things and experimenting, and try and solve those nasty resonance issues. Like, I could probably still get rid of some of the noise in the captures, but on the high gain settings, it's just noisy, that's just how it is. I could also try filtering off some of the high end, Yeah, there's some stuff to try for sure. But GuitarML, if you're watching and you know what could have gone wrong, let me know. Or anyone else that's done a capture, if you could leave something in comments for me to point me in the right direction, I'm all up for that. But until then, unfortunately that's where this video is going to have to end. I'll keep an eye on this project though. I just have a good feeling about where it's going to go in the future. The idea is obviously sound, no pun intended, so yeah man, keep up the good work. And if you like this content, feel free to comment, like, share and subscribe. You know the deal. And as always, thank you for watching.